Everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new DC Comics 6-inch Icons Lex Luthor figure from DC Collectibles. Now this figure comes packaged in the same style packaging we've seen with all the Icons. You've got the window box packaging. For this one, we've got white and green colors for Lex. You've got the figure clearly displayed along with the accessories. Off to the side, it tells us the figure's name and that it's figure number 8 in the series. On the side of the packaging, we have the Icons logo again, and it tells us that this figure is based on the Forever Evil storyline. And then on the back, we have a look at all the figures in this wave. So Flash, Blue Beetle, Black Adam, and Lex Luthor. I should say all the regular figures because it doesn't show the deluxe Green Lantern figure. And then down below it tells us the figure was designed by Ivan Reyes and sculpted by Joe Mena. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now, first of all, let me just say I apologize for doing this review late. This figure's been out for about 2 weeks now. I'd hoped to do it much sooner, but I just got behind with other things. There's been so much stuff coming out here at the end of the year with Black Series, Star Wars, Marvel Legends, tons of Icons and DC Collectible stuff. So, and we've got the Batman Dawn of Justice and Mattel figures and stuff. So, I mean, if you're a 6-inch collector, it's a great time to be collecting, in my opinion. But as a reviewer, it's hard to keep up with everything. So again, I apologize, but definitely want to finish up. I still got to do Black Adam for the Icons, which I'll try and get to this week as well. So Lex Luthor comes with a number of different accessories, and honestly, I'm not totally familiar with all of them. This one in particular, I don't remember him using anything like this. It looks like almost like an energy vortex of some kind. Maybe this is supposed to be when he was fighting Black Adam. I remember him, like, shooting Black Adam and kind of holding his hand over Black Adam's chest. So I don't know, maybe that's what this is from. I'd have to go back and look, but it's just a piece of plastic done in a almost greenish tinted cream colored plastic. You've got the ridges on the end. It's just an open hand, and the plastic is glued to the hand. So again, I'm not 100% sure what this is supposed to be. He also comes with a hand that holds that staff that he used to kill the main bad guy. I forget his name, Messiah or something like that. It was basically Alexander Luthor, who was from the alternate Earth, and Luthor ends up basically being the hero and kills him. And so he uses this staff and he stabs him in the chest with it, if I remember correctly. The staff is not removable. It's attached to this closed-fisted hand. But the staff itself looks pretty true to what we saw in the comic. It's gold. It's got the circle up here at the top, and you've got some ridges sculpted in up here near the circle, and then down here at the bottom. And it's just, somewhat flexible plastic, but it's fairly straight. And then he comes with an energy dagger, and this just attaches to his wrist. Now on mine, this is a little loose, so you kind of have to squeeze it a little bit first and then clip it on. But once you get it on, it stays on pretty good for the most part. And it's just done in the same color. The blade is done the same color as that energy vortex thing, and it's that kind of flexible plastic, rubbery type plastic that they use for that. Now, besides that, he also comes with, attached to the figure when you take it out of the packaging, he's got 2 closed-fisted hands, and then he's got a pair of open hands to hold stuff. Okay, so for the figure itself, I think they've done a really nice job with the sculpting detail on it. I think they captured the armor as it appears in, like, the Justice League comics. He's a dominant character, or predominant character in the comics these days. The Justice League comics, he basically forced his way onto the team after he saved the day in the Forever Evil storyline, and he wears this armor all the time. So I really like this armor. I like the sculpting detail with the lines, the shoulder pads and the knee pads I think look good, and I like these little circles, how they've sculpted those on, and again here on the waist piece, and I like how the green waist piece comes down over his thigh. Again, very true to what we see in the comics and everything. I think the head sculpt is actually pretty good. I've seen some of you kind of complain about the head sculpt, thinking he looks too Asian, but I don't think so. I think this looks pretty true to how you see him in the comics, at least the Justice League comics. And I also like it better than DC Collectibles did a variation of this armor for their 7-inch line. It's a deluxe figure, and you can see that, similar armor. It's basically the same armor, just with added pieces and stuff. That I think this was seen in the Superman comics, and it is much bigger. But I like this head sculpt much better than the head sculpt that they did with the 7-inch one. I think it looks much more like Lex Luthor. I think the paint applications, the skin tone, and everything are much nicer. So I definitely think this is a vast improvement on the head sculpt from that previous New 52 Lex Luthor that they did. Now, as far as the paint applications go, I do think that maybe the armor on this figure looks a little too clean. The purple is maybe a little too vibrant. I kind of like the paint applications on the 7-inch version better. I think it looks much more armored as far as the paint applications go. Or maybe if they'd even done something like they did with their Green Lantern figure with the green. So that's my only real kind of complaint with this is I don't think the paint applications look bad. Very clean looking figure, very crisp paint, no paint errors or anything like that. But I just think the colors of green and purple are a little bit off of what we see in the comics, and I would have liked to have seen them maybe make it look a little more metal and armorized than what we have here. But again, that's a minor complaint. I still think overall the figure looks really good. Okay, so this figure stands at just a little bit over 6 inches tall. So he is shorter than the Icon, or he's taller than the Icon's Batman. But as some have pointed out, this Batman's based on Nightwing, so maybe we will get a taller Batman at a later date. Here's the Icon's Green Lantern figure, and Lex is maybe a hair taller than Hal here, but they're pretty close to the same height. Here's one of Mattel's 6-inch figures, 6-inch Superman, and Superman is a bit taller than Lex, but you know, I actually think these two look pretty good together. Also, here's Marvel Legends, Hasbro's Marvel Legends Iron Man, and again, Iron Man's a bit taller than Lex, but the scale between, or the size between these later release icons is getting closer to the Marvel Legends. And then finally, for one more comparison, the big thing that Lex does in the Forever Evil storyline is he creates Bizarro. And DC Collectibles did a 7-inch New 52 Bizarro figure a while back. And I think these actually go pretty good with one another. Obviously, the 7-inch scale figure is taller, but you know, in the comics, I believe Bizarro was taller than Lex. So I kind of think these two look good together. So if you have that DC Collectibles 7-inch New 52 Bizarro and you want to pose it with your New 52 6-inch Lex, I think they do work pretty good together. Okay, so articulation on this figure is not too bad. Head's on a ball joint, so he can look left and he can look right. And he's got some down movement. He can't really look up at all. Arms attached with a standard ball hinge joint. Now he's got these shoulder pads, which are done with that kind of rubber vinyl material. So it limits a little bit, but not too much, how much you can get the arm out. You can also rotate the arm fine. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got a double jointed elbow. He's got swivels at the wrist, and he's got hinges on the hands. Now, because the armor piece kind of comes over the top of his wrist, he doesn't really have much up movement with the hand, but he's got good down movement. He's got a midsection swivel, which is covered up by the armor, and then he's got an ab crunch joint, so he can crunch down a little bit, and then he can look back pretty good. Legs are attached with your standard ball hinge joints. Now these side pieces that are on the side of his legs, again, is done with that kind of vinyl material, so it doesn't really limit him doing the splits. He can get his leg forward good, and he can do his leg out and back. No thigh swivel on these. Double jointed knees, so he's got good bending at the knee. And then he's got hinges on his feet, but he does have, again, with the armor sculpting, he's got this piece that kind of sticks up out over his foot, so he can't really do his foot out at all or up at all. He can do it down, and then he's got some pivot, but again, because of this piece that sticks out, it limits a little bit of the pivot that he has. And then he's got 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. Okay, so that's my review. I like the figure overall. My only minor complaint is I think the paint applications are a little bit on the clean and bright side, especially with the purple. I would have liked more of an armored look with it, but otherwise I think this is a great looking figure, and I'm glad that we're getting this version of Lex as opposed to like the big armored version that we got in the 7-inch line. So this figure is out on shelves now. It's been out for a couple weeks. It's going to cost about $25, maybe a little bit less depending on where you get it. We'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There's a link in the description below. And as always, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and if you're so inclined, please like the video. And until next time, I'll catch you later.